Yo, have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, Naruto What If Battle Edition. Today, we are bringing you our second Naruto What If Battle of 2022. And we have some heavy hitters for y'all today. We have the Raikage A going up against Might Guy. And we have the L7C NDP Forum with us, the Captain Byron Mitchell. How are you doing today?
Oh, we're doing good. It's been a good Saturday. Sunday. Wow. Today's Sunday. Good Sunday so far.
And then we have Cedric Ware with us. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good. The sun's up. Wanted to get some shots up.
Did you?
No. I did work out, but didn't get any shots up. But anyway. But yeah, so we got Guy and the Raikage. And then this match, obviously Raikage wanted some representation for Black History Month. So, and then Mike Guy felt like a guy that if these two got in the ring with each other, it would be really, really crazy. At this point, the match is where Guy can only go 7 gates. So like when you saw him fight against Kisame, I did get some answers from other people who weren't able to be on the call today, and I'll give their answers later. But Cedric, what do you think about this matchup?
It'd be an interesting match, but I mean, we see throughout the show, my guy is a taijutsu expert. We see his skill level. I mean, at this point in time, like I said, we don't go past 7 gates, but he used the 7th gate to save the Raikage's brother, Killer B, in a fight where he fought Kisame. We really don't know a whole bunch outside of like the Raikage's lightning cloak, but nothing too crazy. We don't really see anything, but we know like the rumors of his speed and being essentially the fastest shinobi at that point in time. Since the Yellow Flash, RIP, the past. So I think it'd be an interesting matchup. I think a lot of it will deal with Mike Guy's ability to get through that lightning cloak. I mean, I feel like at least the Hidden Cloud's knowledge and intelligence base will be an interesting thing because, like, it's not like my guy is not like Kakashi, where you go everywhere, no matter who Kakashi matches up against. Once they see, it's like, oh, we know you. You're the copy ninja. Like, my guy kind of has a low key profile, and so if you underestimate him, I mean, not gonna lie, he has a quirky personality too. So he may be able to get that good hit, those good hits, and I think maybe the Raikage will underestimate him, not knowing who he is. Because I don't believe, to my knowledge, either of them has seen the other fight. But again, Raikage being Raikage, I'm certain Guy probably knows more about him than he knows about Guy.
Cedric, that was a really good point you brought up about people not knowing Guy. That was a really good point because the only villain that we ever heard anyone say don't underestimate Guy was Itachi. But of course, Itachi like came from that village, so he would know about Guy's abilities. So that was a really good point that not that many people actually know my Guy and how strong he really is. Byron, what do you think about like this matchup? Because this is a very interesting one.
Yeah, this is a very tough matchup for me to say definitively who I think would win. Like, I think obviously the Raikage has a speed advantage. And then with, the seventh gate, he has a big tiger finishing move. So I think it would come down to like, can the Raikage dodge that and then counterattack? I think that's what I'm struggling with, like, which is more powerful, like that. I think it's called like the daytime tiger or Raikage's speed.
Yeah, the daytime tiger, which is a very nice looking move in itself. I also think it's interesting because it's the Raikage, well, first showed up, like we already know, the Sasuke annihilation. But then he also went, when he found out B was alive, to help B take out Kisame with the brother double lariat, which again, haha, we tricked you again. Kisame just found a way. And then, like Cedric said, Kisame is about to capture the Eight Tails again. And this time, Guy stopped him by going the seventh gate. And I just wanted to ask you guys this. Like, how big of a power jump do you think these gates are? Because Guy had to go, probably for story purposes, he had to go 6 gates to like help beat like that 30% clone of Kisame. But then like a full power Kisame, we just go 1 gate higher and it's easy. Like, how big do you guys think these jumps are?
I think they're probably incremental boosts because they do have 8 gates, so you have to spread out that power between each gate. But that's a good point that I didn't really think about, that from the 6th to the 7th, you was able to go from a 30% clone to a full power clone. So at least with that, that's a huge, but I feel like there's a huge jump between 6th and 7th.
Cedric?
I wish I would have looked at where those chakra gates are at, because I know they're at major points of the body, but I know 8 is at the heart.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the power boost has to be substantial, given essentially like the way that it is described is your high powering flowing through those major arteries, major life sustaining points. And so you're essentially like, depending on how long you hold it, damaging that area of your body. I feel like the cost has, since that cost is so high, the benefit has to be substantial as well. And like I said, I wish I would have known. I wish I could see where the 7th gate is, because it has to come along the line. Like, it's right before the heart. So I would say from 6 to 7, and we're close to essentially like where no matter what you do with the 8th gate, you die. I have to imagine that from 6 to 7 has to be a substantial jump.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think 7th is in the pelvic region. So I think it goes straight down the body and then goes back up to 8 with the heart.
Yeah, that's so goes stomach and heart. Makes sense. So with this fight too, it's just like, because Byron, you brought up the ultimate move that we've seen out of the 7th gate, the daytime tiger, which I'm looking at a picture of the daytime tiger trying to swallow a not complete Susanoo from Madara, which, wow. But I don't know, man. Like, with this 7th gate, is that going to be enough physical force to knock out the Raikage?
I don't know, because the Raikage definitely has a high pain tolerance, because you see him chop off his arm with with ease and still fight against Sasuke. So even if he does get hit with it, like I don't know how much that would affect him.
Because also too, like obviously it's not 8 gates because 8 gates guy would stomp him. Like that would be. I mean, 8 gate guy almost killed 6 guys, Madara. So we're not going that far because we haven't seen it at this point in the show. So just like Cedric was talking about, like the jumps because the 8th is at the heart, which just spreads it out everywhere. But this 7th one, and I just keep thinking of Kisame. Does a full power Kisame beat the Raikage on his own without Killer B? Because that's like my only thing I'm trying to decide between, because if a full power Kisame could beat the Raikage on his own, just from that type of logic, 7 gates guy beat Kisame. So it's like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a good one.
I don't know. I mean, we have the whole water versus lightning style thing going on with that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Raikage's ability, honestly, against a Kisame, I think, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, Kisame is shit. Don't get it twisted. But I am not going to sit here and say, like, oh, yeah, it'd be a complete, like, he'd be able to beat the Raikage. I honestly think there is a way the Raikage beats Kisame, because that Kisame is also without Samihana. So he isn't just eating up everyone's chakra, which I think would be a way for him to beat the Raikage and avoid the lightning blow, is if he had Samihana, because it just takes away the chakra. I mean, I feel like the Raikage, even in some of the stuff we saw, we haven't really seen like full blown one on, like this him going all out. To Byron's point, this guy is willing to sacrifice anything, because my man was willing to give up a leg just to get through Amaterasu and a Susanoo cage. So I'm like, hey, I'll drop kick the fuck out of that thing. I'll break through it. So I don't know if there's really a point where this guy, like, even if the Raikage is on the ropes, if you could get him to honestly give up, like, you may have legitimately killed that man.
This is tough because Guy is someone too who he's not gonna. I mean, he was willing to obviously sacrifice stuff at the end because he's not just gonna give up either. Like, and they're both fast at this point. I think we could probably say, well, obviously Raikage, like Cedric said, at this point we haven't really seen much, but he's, if not the fastest person in the verse as of right now. My Guy is definitely in the top 5, you would think, in speed at this point too, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
From a viewer standpoint, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, he has that low profile, like no one knows.
Yeah.
My Guy. And honestly, outside of Kisame, I don't know, even reportedly, if we have any document of saying like my Guy has had to open anything above the 6th gate. Like, we know he can, because I mean, well, I guess we pray that he can, since he's out here teaching Lee everything. But we don't really have him out here fighting anyone else opening the 7th gate. And so I mean, the dramatic speed boost and everything, I think when people actually see it and observe it, I don't know, I love my Guy's character. I actually love the fact that he is low profile, because I love those characters where you're like, they come out, you underestimate them, and he's a weird ass dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when you first see him, you may be like, oh, this bozo's gonna whoop our ass. Yeah, right. And then he comes out with just taijutsu, and you start writing him off, just like everyone writes off Rock Lee. It's like, oh, he only knows taijutsu. He can't beat us. This is a ninja world. Like, this is ninjutsu or nothing, essentially. Like, not everyone may have genjutsu, but you gotta have something. And then this guy ends up stomping the fuck out of everybody. I like that.
No,
I don't know if he has enough acclaim to say, like, I will agree. Like, I would say certainly he's in the top 5. Like, if this guy isn't in the top 5, I need to know who's fast out here. Like, who else we calling Speedy? Because besides him, shit, like just pure speed alone. I mean, you got Naruto, yeah, easily like up there, but that's what the Chakra from the Nine Tails.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as living people, I don't know, like who else is like claimed to be just like not necessarily even strong, but just fast. Like we don't really know anyone else. I mean, I'm certain you'll probably put Kakashi up there in the top 5 because you have to be fast to do Chidori. You can't be slow.
That's yeah.
I mean, shit. For the most part, that's why Sasuke took that nice running start to get that shit charged up. I was like, listen, we gonna get some distance on this from that wall. So I mean, I have to assume that he's in the top 5 for sure. Like, and I imagine Rock Lee's probably in the top 5 somewhere too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as much as I love Killer Bee, and you got to keep up with the Raikage, I assume that he may be rounding out the top 5 somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because their lariat's a perfectly timed attack. Like you're hitting the opponent from 2 different directions at the exact same time. So, needless to say, in my mind, I think I broke down the top 5, but that's not.
I think you did.
I think there's also 2 other things, like because I brought up the thing about the Kisame thing. Also, just looking back at our own stuff. Last month, we did talk about like if Team Guy had to fight Killer Bee 8 Tails. At that point, we don't think Guy would have been able to fight a full tail beast at that point. But do you think 7 Gates Guy is stronger than Tsunade? Because last year we had Tsunade beating the Raikage. Obviously, this was like their war stuff. Where
I wasn't in that one. Okay, so I wasn't around for the Tsunade Raikage episode.
I think you were you missed that one.
I love the lady, that woman. So let me ask you this.
Hmm?
And I'm slacking on my episodes, my fellow forum members. I'm sorry I didn't listen to that. But I imagine it went to the tune of This Bitch Don't Die. So
yes. Yes, yeah, that was the reason why Tsunade won.
I'm just wondering, do I think a 7 Gates Guy could beat Tsunade? No, because that bitch don't die. Like
But the question of like who is stronger between 7th Gate Might Guy and Tsunade, I don't know. Because they say that Tsunade is the strongest woman.
physically stronger? Are we talking physically stronger? Because I mean, I guess we have to be talking physically stronger because I know taijutsu animation looks really fucking cool, but that is pure physical strength, like
True,
100% hands. Like we ain't got no special gimmicks going on. Like that flame you feel from him punching you and kicking you is straight up friction and natural combustion caused by how fast he is moving. So if we're talking straight physical strength, I honestly do think that he is stronger physically than she is.
I could agree with that, the way you broke it down.
Let's say I've seen her break trees. Shit. Honestly, I wouldn't be amazed if she picked up the Hokage mansion and threw it at someone. Wouldn't be amazed if I saw that. But the last time I checked, I don't see no fire of fury coming from her fist.
That's a good point.
Yeah, good point. I was just trying to think of like our previous stuff in because like the Raikage, it's like he's so strong and he's fast. So like that combination alone, and like Cedric said, this dude has no fear. He's willing to sacrifice anything.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the dude is fucking hard-headed. Like that was something I was trying to think of in a strategy-wise. Like once you actually start to size up your opponent and how to approach it, I feel like the Raikage is a brute force mentality type of guy. And when I say brute force, I don't just mean like taijutsu. I mean like in his mind, his chakra, the amount in his power is all that he sees as he needs to overcome an opponent. And so no matter what type of thing he is stacked with, his mind is, I'm going to push through with my power. I'm going to push through with my speed. I'm going to push through with my strength. I'm not going to use any other tactics because I don't need to. Or I don't know if my guy is that lineal of a thinker. Because, I mean, look at all the people in his unit and his rival. For him, he's always had to find another way to turn the tables and make things work and shape for him. And not only that, but for his unit, because they're all some form of specialists. And when I say specialists, they're all sweet, but not everyone starts out of being sweet. Like, Neji was a genius at the beginning, but let's be real. Like, Rock Lee put in the time and dedication and work. So did Tintin to become a weapons master. But when you take that away, when you start to look at the raw materials that he was given, to be able to analyze those people, like outside of maybe Neji, those people's abilities were very limited and very direct in what they can do. But to be able to direct them in a way that fully lets their talent blossom, I think requires the type of mind to say, like, let's look at these possibilities. There's a lot that we can do with this. And while there are a bunch of people we see underneath the Raikage like Darui, who benefited from his tutelage and teachings, his own stubbornness, I feel like, makes it a weakness. Like, he doesn't seem like someone who would think outside the box. And when he has his mind made up, it takes a lot of convincing. And essentially, you have to outpower him. I mean, like, shit, for Naruto to even get into the war, I know we're like talking like this is pre-war, but like, I guess I can do an example before. Like, before, when the war was declared, even when this man was like, he was like, it's my way or the highway. It took like the samurai to look at it like, man, listen, like, we're the ones that's going to make the decision on who leads this army because we're the most neutral party. This man fucking busted a table being upset that he wasn't picked. Like, he couldn't understand or even rationalize anyone else possibly being in charge or maybe having a better idea or insight on the situation. Mm-hmm. And I think that itself may be a weakness in a one-on-one fight. But again, it could be an advantage in a one-on-one fight because at the end of the day, it's just you. Like, ain't nobody coming to save you. It's just you. But I don't know. It all depends on how that shakes down. And I don't know how direct Mike Guy would get with the Raikage because I feel like Mike Guy is a good strategist as far as like sizing up. Like, he knows where his limit is and knows where he has to go and where the importance is on his ability to like actually strike and be successful. Where, again, to Byron's point in the scene, this man Raikage believes in brute force because the dude, there could have been other ways he could have approached the Susanoo when he was fighting Sasuke in Amaterasu. There was other ways he could have done it. I mean, he was moving so fast that Amaterasu didn't even touch him. But to hit him, he literally was like, you know what? I gotta give up an arm. Fuck it. I don't care. Where I don't know how that would work with Guy.
Yeah. This is tough. This is tough. Like 60 minutes, grassy plains. Could Guy, also I was trying to think too, could Guy even keep 7 gates up for an hour if he needed to? Could his body handle that?
How long was this? Well, I mean, like, I know we see episodes, but I mean, the war was 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Not to start light on those people that lost their lives in that, but historically, for what we know in real life, without like powers and giant beasts stomping all over the place, that's normally like a battle. Like, we don't really call it like a full-blown war because there's only 2 days. But that's a lot of up and down chakra, like replenishing chakra. I'd have to imagine he could for 60 minutes. Because for 2 days, this guy, sure, we didn't see it, but we have to imagine that while we're watching, like, Unit 1 fight, Unit 3 is still fighting. I don't know what unit he's saying. I'm using it as an example. But I'm saying, like, while we're watching, like, the fighting is continuous throughout the whole war. And so they ain't no break. Like, you ain't got no timeouts, no nothing. There ain't no halftime. And to your point, when we talked about Kakashi in the war, my guy literally, and I still know it's plot. Like, I know it's damn plot because this man couldn't do it against Pain. But this man done use his fucking Magiku Sharingan like 8 different fucking times, and he's moving tail beast bombs and trying to say like he's gonna move a tail beast and shit, knowing that he's been fighting for 2 days straight. Like, if he can say that, then certainly I think that this guy could keep up the 7th gate for 60 minutes.
That is a good point. Oh,
when
man.
we got to that part in the war, he was still lively. So I think he could keep it up for 70, 60 minutes.
I mean, shoot, he's been fighting, and then he went 8 gates to fight.
Right.
Like, my dude got the energy. Listen, in his own words, the power of youth. He got it.
That's facts. He does have the power of youth.
Well, let me read just real quick. Nikki said that he was going to give the win to Mike Guy. Andrea said with it being 7 gates, she said this is like close, like a 51-49 Mike Guy. So that's what those two said. Byron, who do you think wins?
Definitely, I think it's super close. That's 51-49. I think I have to give it to the Raikage because of his speed and his dexterity. Like Cedric said, he just goes in without a strategy. Just, I want to attack him. If I win, I win. So I think that would be an advantage for him. Maybe, I don't know. This is tough, but I'm going to say the Raikage.
Cedric, who do you think's got this one?
I'm picking the Raikage. Honestly, a lot of the physical abilities that Guy have are great. Like, trust me, I think it will be a close fight. Like, I think the Raikage is going to have to give it his all because this is no slouch he's fighting. Like, I think initially it will be one of those situations where the Raikage's speed initially will be what saves him, because I do think he would underestimate Mike Guy. I think he would, and I think that Mike Guy would, because with opening the gates, it's a progressional thing unless you want to hurt yourself. Like, sure, he's a master, but I don't think Mike Guy is going to go straight blown like boom, they're going 7 right at the jump. Like, he's going to see and feel out to see what the natural limits and abilities are to Raikage. He's a strategist too. And I think through that, the Raikage is going to learn, I can't sleep on this guy. Like, I'm going to have to go full blown to win. And we've seen I think that lightning cloak for the Raikage is his biggest advantage, because outside of a fucking Susanoo, I think, well, at this point in the show, I don't know if we've seen necessarily anything pierce it, like, except for maybe Amaterasu, but that was more of a him trying to hit Sasuke thing rather than it breaking it. But Amaterasu burns anything. I don't know if we've seen anything physically, like, just on its own without like any chakra nature or anything like that pierce that cloak. And I think that will be the hardest thing for Mike Guy and the biggest advantage for the Raikage. And that's why I think the Raikage would win. at the end of it all. Because there's levels to that cloak.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. You know, this is really close. Any other time, because I really do like Guy, I'd pick Guy. But I can't pick against the Raikage on Black History Month. I'm sorry. So I'm going with the Raikage.
Wow.
Well,
that's just my tiebreaker because it's Black History Month. That is my tiebreaker. But that was really close. Really, really, really close. Really fun matchup for that. So now let me send that to y'all, and then it will be obviously sent through text later, probably on Tuesday. Okay, so we will send that. Hopefully it goes through. Yep, it's there. See you guys. All right. So next month, obviously, it's March Madness. Obviously, it's Women's History Month. Running it back. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe anywhere you listen to. And next month, you have the Women's March Madness version 2. So hopefully that person, you know who I'm talking about on YouTube. Hopefully you comment on this one as well. We can't wait to hear your comments when we do the March one. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We're on the road to 3,000 total listens. We are a couple hundred there. If you listen to our end of year podcast, our goal is minimum to get to 4K by the end of the year and then hopefully get to 5. So we are on our way. And with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Signing out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.